Welcome back to Euro Football Daily. On today's video, we're counting down 10 Wonderkids who never fulfilled their potential. Let's go. 10. Adnan Januzaj. When Adnan Januzaj burst onto the scene at Man United in 2013, it seemed he had the world at his feet. A consistent source of inspiration in an otherwise drab Red Devils side, the then 18-year-old looked seriously impressive, firing off 2.6 shots per 90, ranking second in the squad behind Wayne Rooney for chances created, and completing 2.8 dribbles a match, a figure which ranked him first at Old Trafford and level with the imperious Luis Suarez that season. But 8 years later, and now in his 5th season at Real Sociedad, the Belgian has failed to live up to that early promise. Despite showing flashes of brilliance, he is still yet to hit double figures for goal involvements in a league campaign, and is also yet to match the 1,641 league minutes he played in his first season in the Premier League. What's more, he's won just 7 caps for his country since 2014, beaten out to a place in the Euro 2020 squad by Leandro Trossard. There is still some hope. He may have made just 12 La Liga starts last term, but his 0.4 expected assists per 90 ranked him first in the division among players to have played over 500 minutes. Clearly, he is a more than solid creator in the Spanish top flight, but the player we saw at 18 looked like he'd be a true world beater by now, and that ship looks to have sailed a while ago. 9. Ross Barkley. Another player who broke through in 2013-14, Ross Barkley has rarely displayed the kind of raw brilliance we saw from him in his early years at Everton since he left the Toffees in 2018. Making his Goodison debut at just 17, the Englishman was widely regarded as the club's most exciting academy graduate since Wayne Rooney, with manager Roberto Martinez saying he was born to play football. But like with many precocious, naturally talented forwards, Barkley wasn't the easiest player to coach, and for a number of years his game looked to have stagnated. While his creativity increased, his ability to burst through the lines and take on opposition defenders seemed to decline, and the 2017-18 season, of which he missed almost the entirety with injury, was a damning one for his career. Then just 23, an age at which most attackers begin to enter their physical peak, Barkley was robbed of serious development time. Despite some promising performances here and there under Maurizio Sarri and Frank Lampard, he couldn't hold down a starting berth at Stamford Bridge, and following a decent start to his loan at Aston Villa, injuries and poor form once again scuppered his progress. Meanwhile, his wages, which stand at over £100,000 a week, have made a move out of West London almost impossible to pull off, with Burnley the only club to have been linked with him in recent months. 8. Nuri Şahin. Nuri Şahin became the Bundesliga's youngest ever player when he made his debut for Borussia Dortmund in 2005, a record that stood for over 15 years before Youssoufa Moukoko broke it in late 2020. And he hit the ground running, nabbing his first goal for BVB months later, by which point he'd already won his first cap and scored for the Turkish national team. A successful loan spell at Feyenoord followed, and the versatile midfielder returned to the Westfalenstadion before his 20th birthday with over 5,000 minutes of top-level experience, by which point Jurgen Klopp had taken over as manager. They won the Bundesliga together in 2011, and Şahin was one of the key contributors to the triumph, creating the most chances in the squad and also winning an outrageous 6.3 tackles and interceptions a match. This earned him a move to Real Madrid, but it was also where things went wrong, sustaining a knee injury almost as soon as he got to the Bernabeu and making just 2 league starts all season. He'd have a slightly more productive loan with Liverpool the following year, but was never happy on Merseyside and returned to Dortmund and Klopp 6 months later. However, he never again produced the kind of numbers which had seen him courted by Europe's elite, and injuries continued to dog him. Having just turned 32, Şahin is now in his 2nd season at Antalyaspor in Turkey. 7. Patrick Roberts. Making his Premier League debut for Fulham against Man City at just 17, Patrick Roberts was snapped up by the Sky Blues the following year, and had all the credentials of a top modern winger. Fast, agile, able to cut in, score and create, Roberts looked a serious talent, even nicknamed Mini Messi during his youth days at Craven Cottage. And a 2.5-year loan spell at Celtic proved fruitful, with the then 19-year-old contributing to 19 league goals in the 2016-17 campaign. But he failed to catch a break after that. His final year in Scotland was plagued by injury, and after moving to Girona in 2018, he disappointed in La Liga, playing just 600 minutes and failing to score as the Catalan outfit were relegated. He then returned to England with a temporary switch to Norwich, where he was largely ignored by Daniel Farke before making the step down to the Championship with Middlesbrough. Now 24, with his City contract up in less than a year and with his latest loan switch taking him to French Minos Troyes, Roberts' hopes of making it in the Prem look slim for now. 6. Diego. This one is probably a little harsh. At 36, Diego is still going strong as captain of Flamengo and has won league titles in Brazil, Spain and Portugal, with 2 Copas America and a Copa Libertadores also on his CV. But considering the hype that surrounded him when he first emerged at Santos, making his debut at just 16, it's fair to say his career hasn't been as sparkling as it could have been. At 19, the player was signed by Porto as a replacement for the Barcelona-bound Deco, and following a disappointing 2-year spell at the Dragão, found a much better home in the Bundesliga with Werder Bremen, where he contributed 66 goals and assists in 84 appearances and lifted the DFB Pokal in 2009, setting up a 20-year-old Mesut Ozil for the winner in the final. This earned him a €27 million switch to Juventus, where a spectacular start saw him compared with Zidane and Platini. But his form soon dipped again, and within a year he was back in Germany, this time with Wolfsburg, where he failed to meet eye to eye with manager Steve McLaren and Felix Magath. He enjoyed happier times on loan at Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone, but his goal and assist output never truly recovered, and at just 29 he transferred to Fenerbahce. Not the career arc we expected for a man once considered in the same bracket as Ronaldo and Messi. 5. Charly Musonda. Now for one of the sadder examples of a youngster unable to fulfill their potential. Once one of the most coveted teenagers in Europe, wanted by everyone from Man City to Barcelona and Real Madrid, Charly Musonda eventually moved to the Chelsea Academy from Anderlecht in 2012, winning the UEFA Youth League 3 years later and earning a loan switch to Real Betis, where he linked up with other young stars like Dani Ceballos and Fabian Ruiz. But unlike former academy teammates like Tammy Abraham, Jeremy Boga and Fikayo Tomori, Musonda failed to progress. Despite being told by Antonio Conte that he was part of his first team plans on returning to Stamford Bridge, he was loaned to Celtic in 2018 before a switch to Vitesse spelled disaster for his career. In a pre-season friendly for the Dutch club, he tore his posterior cruciate ligament, a highly uncommon injury in football which has kept him out for much of the time since. In an interview with the BBC, Musonda later revealed that he was told the chances of him coming back were just 20% and that playing for a club at the level of Chelsea again was almost impossible. He hasn't played back-to-back games for over 4 years now, although the 24-year-old remains confident he can return to the field one day in the future. 4. Gérard Deulofeu. When Everton signed Gérard Deulofeu on loan in the summer of 2013, he arrived on Merseyside as one of Spanish football's brightest prospects, having scored 18 goals for Barcelona B in the Segunda Division the previous season and been named the player of the tournament at the Under-19 Euros the previous year. And he looked electric in the Premier League, completing over 4 dribbles a game and proving a constant nightmare for defences, helping the Toffees to a 5th place finish in his first season. He was eventually signed on a permanent in 2015, but following the arrival of Ronald Koeman as manager, was frozen out, and by the summer of 2017 was re-signed by Barca, leading to hopes of a glorious return to the Camp Nou. But it didn't happen. Deulofeu made just 5 La Liga starts before moving back to England with Watford, and despite putting in some magical performances for the Hornets, notably firing them to the FA Cup final in 2019, it was clear his world-beating potential hadn't been fulfilled. Now 27, the forward now plies his trade for Udinese and has just 4 Spain caps to his name. 3. Federico Macheda. A player who's been talked about a number of times on videos like this, Federico Macheda seemingly came out of nowhere when, at 17, he scored a last-minute goal that helped Man United on their way to the Premier League title in 2009. But his star faded almost as quickly. After his game time at Old Trafford dried up, manager Alex Ferguson suggested he take a loan to an English club, but the Italian favoured a move back to his home country, a decision he later said was the worst mistake of his life. A temporary switch to Sampdoria was fruitless, and he picked up an ankle injury the following campaign at QPR. He wouldn't hit double figures in a season until 2013-14, by which time he was at Birmingham in the Championship and was picked up by Cardiff on a free shortly after. But fast forward to 2021 and a 30-year-old Macheda is in the form of his life at Panathinaikos, racking up almost 100 appearances in 3 seasons for the Greek Giants and scoring regularly too. He may not be a superstar, but at least he's enjoying his football. 2. Jack Wilshere. Once English football's great new hope, Jack Wilshere broke through at Arsenal at a time when technical ability, rather than physical prowess, was beginning to be looked upon as the prime indicator of top central midfielders, with Xavi, Busquets and Iniesta defining the era. And Wilshere made his mark on them, putting in a man-of-the-match display in the Gunners' Champions League tie with Barcelona in 2011, completing all 4 of his dribbles in 93% of his passes against the legendary midfield trio. But sadly, at just 19, that was about as good as it got for the precocious young talent. He'd miss almost the entire next season with injury, and it would become a running theme of his Arsenal career, with a number of campaigns either severely or entirely disrupted by various setbacks. Wilshere lost fitness and confidence and rarely looked like the player so many had pinned their hopes on. After a loan spell at Bournemouth, he moved permanently to West Ham in 2018, a decision he has since revealed he regretted. He made just 6 Premier League starts for the Hammers, and following a short-term deal back at Bournemouth, was released in the summer of 2021. At the time of recording, he remains without a club. 1. Marco Asensio. As this goes out, it's still pretty easy to remember Marco Asensio looking like one of the world's very best young players. After impressing on loan at Mallorca in the Segunda Division as a teenager, the Spaniard made the step up to La Liga in 2015-16, racking up 10 assists for Espanyol, the same as Gareth Bale and Toni Kroos managed that term, before returning to parent club Real Madrid. That summer, a screamer against Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup announced him to the world, and a similarly sublime finish against Barcelona in 2017 seemed to confirm his future superstar status. A superb dribbler with excellent vision and an eye for goal, Asensio looked set to eventually take up the mantle from Ronaldo and Bale. But by 2019, when he was still just 23, the football world was already talking about his downfall. His key passes had dropped off majorly, he'd begun to look aimless on the ball, and he was failing to start regularly for Zinedine Zidane, often deployed in his less favoured left-wing position. And despite a small redemption in the 2021 campaign, he still struggled to find consistency to his game. But while he hasn't lived up to his original billing, Asensio still has time to find his best form at 25. And with Carlo Ancelotti now playing him in an advanced midfield role, we may yet see his game evolve. So those are our 10 Wonderkids who never fulfilled their potential, but can you name any more? Let us know in the comments below, and who knows, we might do a part 2. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like, and why not subscribe to the channel for more great content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.